Today is Sunday, May 10th, 3:54 p.m. I want to talk about why revisions keep happening in construction projects, especially residential projects. So starting off with design changes. So one of the key or very common changes is layout updates, essentially by the client or essentially the architect who wants to envision a space that would function properly when it comes down to functionality and efficiency, but also kind of how the client wants it. So a lot of updates come through that factor of updating the layout of a floor plan, and then also client requests and refinement. Moving on to structural revisions, so engineering changes, support adjustments, and load paths. So as the layout or kind of revisions happen, there need to be kind of fluency between updates of the structural end of the project. So the structural engineer would kind of update the project based on what has happened or what has been updated by the architect, and if there's any in need of posts or beams or load paths or load bearing walls that need to support a certain kind of area of the home, he'll apply that to the plan, and kind of the whole drawings will update throughout the project. And then drawing coordination, so mismatched dimensions, missing information, detail updates. So consistency and fluency, as I mentioned, is very important when it comes down to developing these construction drawings. So these kind of tedious small things that may reflect through the plan, if focused correctly, you won't have to kind of go back and revise it if done properly the first time. So being focused on these kind of small things essentially, but very crucial part of developing process that general contractors would be able to use the plans to translate the plans into reality. So staying on top of these small things, or kind of, tedious things, is crucial. And then permanent comments, so city corrections, missing notes, required updates. So when submitting to the city to get the approval of these drawings for construction, city might kind of come back with corrections or some notes or some RFIs, or requests for informations of a certain location or area of the home or of the project. So updating that continuously and kind of putting in the actual effort of completing the actual plan and finalizing what's been up to date, or essentially what's been on the notes of what needs to be updated, is kind of, as I said, crucial and important. So ending off with what I'm starting to notice is revisions are part of refining the project. So leaving off with through these updates, through these corrections, it just becomes a masterpiece essentially. The plan just becomes the perfect piece of what the client envisions, and through these kind of revisions, as I said, through these adjustments, through the changes, through the requests, we kind of have a final plan that both city align, the contractor aligns, that understands, the architects align, that structural engineers aligns with, and we have a perfect project.